How come you guys don't talk about anime anymore?
Well,
there's only so much you can talk about, or you just start going down a rabbit hole of things that YouTube won't let you monetize.
Yeah, two of us are like, I guess, anime YouTubers. Well, Joey's an ex-anime YouTuber at this point. And
I still watch it.
Yeah, you still watch it.
I still watch it. I just don't talk about it.
You know what's funny? Joey now watches it as a hobby.
Yeah, I've actually gone back to watching it as a hobby,
as opposed to a job.
Because it was a job for me for the longest time, and then after a while, I'm just like, I kind of got bored of talking about anime in video form, but I still enjoy the medium. So it's like, but see, here's the YouTuber dilemma: is that if you don't make a video on it, then you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously my audience clowns on me for that, which is understandable. The people have a field day with it, but yeah, I don't know. I guess look, because the thing is, we've always called ourselves Trash Taste from the beginning, right? And we always called ourselves as an anime podcast. We've sold it as an anime podcast, but I don't think the intention was to talk about anime the entire time.
Yeah,
I never wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just in general, you guys have.
It's like every now and then we'll throw it in as a topic,
Right.
Yeah.
right? But it's not like the main focus.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because even though it's like an ongoing joke within our own fan base and our own podcast that we don't talk about anime, I think it's actually just really helped with our branding. And I definitely noticed this when I went to LA and we met, a bunch of creators, including you. And pretty much everyone we met was just like, oh,
That's the link.
you're the anime guys. And you're like,
Oh no!
Yeah, and so like every guest we had in LA was just like, yes, I don't really like watch a lot of animes, and we have to somehow talk about it for 2 hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we don't. I think because like the only real like anime episode we had was probably with like ProZD.
yeah, exactly.
But then other than that, we maybe mentioned it for like 5 minutes at a time. But do you want to talk about anime?
I literally could not care less.
Wait, about anime or about talking about anime?
Okay,
Are you an anime fan, William?
kind of.
What does that mean?
You stepped into the marsh.
that was such
So,
like a closet
anime
weeb kind of like thing.
Most anime is like garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
Do people actually get mad if you say anime is garbage?
No, we say it all the time. It's literally
What
our
do you mean by
branding.
garbage?
I've ever heard my phone make a sound like that. And it will never again.
Define
so garbage.
why is it garbage?
Why is it garbage
Yeah,
flavor?
tell me.
It a lot of times is very cheap.
What do you mean by that?
Wait, cheap as in like
Like they crank it out as quickly as possible, and so everything is like they're sort of cherry picking the most successful tropes and strategies. Like instead of making a really well fleshed out story, it's just here's like dangling keys in front of a baby, like loud noise.
I would argue
Stuff
American
looks way
cartoons are also like that.
I'm not saying any of this is not about American cartoons.
You seen Big Mouth on Netflix? That shit is ugly.
I think I've seen clips. I don't watch any American cartoons. There's something about anime though that like I think what I do like about it is there's sort of this suspension of the real world where it's the language barrier makes it feel like something that's very different from what you're regularly consuming.
Yeah,
in
I agree.
America.
Definitely.
Well, I think one of the big issues with anime is you're right. A lot of it is the same copy paste kind of storylines, character tropes, and everything. But when you find that really, really fucking special and good anime, it's like, to me, the reason I'm an anime fan is because it really is able to convey these kinds of stories that you don't really find in other mediums, or it's like really, really hard.
Right.
And I think right now we're at a point where there's so many anime being made that you're right, 90% of it is shit. But there are more and more like really, really fucking great and amazing shows that you can find on a regular basis. Man, this is the most positive I've ever talked about anime on this podcast.
I just realized, we never introduced William.
It's better that way.
Really? You don't want to be
Because
introduced?
it means they should know who I am.
Oh, true.
okay.
Is there any anime you do like then?
Yeah. What are your favorites?
Yeah.
I
List off
really
some
like
ones you
Fullmetal
like.
Alchemist.
My favorite anime.
I think that it's like if I was to try
Brotherhood
to
or
get
normal?
anybody a Brotherhood,
Okay,
not the first one.
Yeah.
If I had to get anyone, or if I had to convince somebody to watch something, that's probably what I would try to convince them to watch.
Yeah,
Because it's very.
he hasn't watched this.
Yeah, it's like it feels like a very. I don't know. It's just like closer to kind of Western media.
In a sense, yeah.
I think in a lot of ways
What's
it is.
some other shows you like? Just list off some that you've watched and enjoyed.
I watched part of Attack on Titan. It just sort of kind of I don't know. I don't really like political stuff.
You don't like political
It
stuff.
just turns into like a weird like governmental.
Yeah, season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real.
It's just like I want to watch something explode.
Fantasy? Yeah.
Like you just want to like turn your brain off. type of shit,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I get you.
I like Gundam.
You like Gundam?
You like
Oh,
which
shit.
Which Gundam?
That's a whole rabbit hole. Which Gundam?
Which Gundam? OG?
Like,
I've watched part of the OG. The old stuff can be kind of slow compared to like modern. Feels like.
I mean, there's like some of the more mainstream stuff, like Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed,
Zero,
Gundam 00, Gundam.
Iron-Blooded Orphans was really good.
Yes. Orphans.
That
Yeah.
one, I honestly can't remember the names of any of them.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them.
it's just
Yeah.
Gundam. It's just a lot
They
of
suck at
Gundams.
naming them in a way that would make it intuitive to
very
figure out which one came when.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason with Gundam is so confusing is that there's just so many of them. So it's kind of like Fate. I don't mean to bring up Fate, but it's kind of like that where there's just so much of something that you don't even know kind of like
It's overwhelming.
where to begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the names don't really help you figure out which one comes
Well,
when.
because it's not numerical.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they could have something like the resurrection, and then not the death,
Die.
and then I'm like, okay, there's some
Death Erection.
Yeah, death
Resurrection.
burial. Okay, so that comes before resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for just a timeline. I was
Yeah.
like, just give me a timeline of like when each of them came out, because none of them even like time wise in their universe, or like the branches universe, like
Yeah.
the sort of like the side.
Right.
Well,
The worst is when the release date doesn't match up to the
Oh my
canonical
God.
story
Yeah.
order. So you're like, oh, this one came out. No, okay, this was the last one.
It's like they're not even.
As a
timed.
Monogatari fan, I feel called out.
It's just like, why did you guys choose to adapt this completely out of order?
Well, the thing about Gundam is that I guess it's like the closest thing anime has to kind of like the MCU, where
Yeah.
there is like a timeline,
yeah.
but every story is basically self-contained.
Yeah.
But if you have followed Gundam from its lineage back right at the beginning, then there is characters that appear in like other things. It's like little Easter
Like a
eggs
whole
and stuff
political
like
thing,
that.
and they seem to
Yeah.
almost like take like an old character and kind of bring them back as like
Yeah.
the new, like the grandchild
Yeah,
kind of thing.
which
It's
is-
just
which
like-
is
I am surprised that you like Gundam, considering that you were just saying you don't like political stuff.
I don't like that part of Gundam.
You're like,
So basically,
So
that's like saying like I really like Dune, minus the political stuff.
So you get partway into Gundam, and then I get bored and stop watching it.
I don't know if I can say that you're a fan of
I
Gundam.
just wish that Formula One was all like pit stops. Like, what's with the racing?
Wait, okay, then what about so you obviously just like
do
the
you just
big
like
robots
giant
fighting.
robots?
Yeah.
Have you watched like Gurren Lagann?
Yes, I think so.
That's basically
Show
Gundam
me
minus
a
the
picture.
political.
Show me the cover
interrogation.
photo of the.
My drill will pierce the heavens. You know that one?
Maybe?
Yeah, you've probably seen it before.
I'm telling you, I don't watch it to remember it.
It's funny because you say you don't like political stuff, but you like giant robots, and I'm just like 90% of all giant robot shows are political shows.
Okay, you need like a drop of politics to justify the robot fighting. But if there's an episode where there's no robot fighting, it's just politics, I'm out. That's filler to me.
Did you like watch Code Geass? Do you
Yes.
remember Code Geass? Did you like that?
I don't remember, but I think I watched all of it, which means
There's
that
politics
I
in
watched-
there.
There's a lot of politics in that.
But there was also
There's
well
a lot.
balanced.
There was also
That's
giant
right.
robots in there.
Exactly.
That's true. That's
any,
true.
any other shows?
Evangelion.
You like
okay.
Evangelion?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I went through the guys, the directors. I'm not going to say
Hideaki Anno.
any name.
Hideaki, yeah.
It's actually a good way to find stuff.
Yeah.
Is go through like find something you like, and then go to their Wikipedia and just dig through the entire catalog. I found a bunch of weird stuff.
You do something that 99% of anime fans don't do.
Exactly.
You should 100% do that. Like go
I
dig
agree.
through like the director or any literally anybody that works on these shows, because it seems like they all have like the same aspiration. So if they directed or if they did this or that, like they all have different things they've worked on that they kind of contributed to.
I mean, I don't understand why more anime fans do this, because this is a normal practice in, like, say, the movie industry or.
I would argue that they do it for film directors. Like, you know, if you watch a Hosoda Mamoru movie or a Shinkai Makoto movie, then you're just like, oh, I want to see what other movies they made. But I feel they don't really do that when it comes to TV animations.
I guess
and,
that
like,
makes
TV
sense
series.
because TV series a lot of the times is adapting something new. But
Yeah.
a lot of directors in anime I know have such a unique style. And I guess some of the biggest names have like the most unique style, like Masaki Yuasa.
Yeah.
You might not know his names, but if you've seen his work, you know when you see one of his works. If you watch something like Ping Pong the Animation or Devilman Crybaby or something like that. But same with Hideaki Anno as well. He's
Yeah.
like such a big name in the anime industry.
So from Evangelion, I got to something called like The Secret of Blue Water.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're going way back.
That's-
What
like-
the hell?
That's a deep cut.
Chelsea's looking at me right now. So we found a website because you like some of this stuff you literally can't watch anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you can't pay for it, you can't stream.
Well,
it.
Evangelion, you couldn't watch it for like 20 years legally. Yeah.
It's like free money. What are they doing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it only took like Netflix to acquire the rights to Evangelion before you could stream.
God
it,
knows
which
how much
is-
money they paid for that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
They basically like you can like watching their other work. It's funny that you can kind of see them as an artist because they kind of get stuck on the same idea.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so there was a lot of like very sort of linear, like very parallel storylines in Secret of Blue Water and Evangelion of like this. It's funny to see that they're almost like they've been working towards this one story across multiple completely separate works.
Exactly.
What's the guy who made Bell called? He made
Mamoru Hosoda.
he just made the
Hosoda.
same movie over and over.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
He did the Digimon movie and was just like, I'm gonna make Summer Wars, which is just the Digimon movie minus the Digimon.
again and
They're
again.
like plagiarizing themselves.
You can't. It's not copying. You can copy yourself. Well, it's just I don't know. It's
Well, there's also Makoto Shinkai now, who I think after doing Your Name,
Yeah, was just like weather porn, the movie. Let's do it again.
yo, he's got like rad wimps on speed dial. It's like, yo, bro, you know I'm gonna need you for the next soundtrack, bro.
Yeah.
But
The one I found that I was the happiest to find, I think like the best one was, we talked about a little bit on our podcast, it's called Memories.
Oh my god, Ultima Katsura. Yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
is brilliant.
It is so good.
So good.
Like the just the animation alone is like, I have never seen anything like that.
Magnetic Rose is oh my god. I'm so glad. You're the only one I know who's seen it. Yeah, I know.
I've never heard it.
God.
even I haven't seen
I
it,
wish they made shit like this.
Yeah.
Like I it makes me sad that is not something anybody wants to put money in.
It is basically Akira in space.
Yes.
It's fucking insane. It's so good.
You're an anime fan.
You are an anime.
You're an
You're not
anime
kind of an anime fan. You are an anime fan.
You're talking about shows even I haven't seen now.
Maybe I'm just talking shit about like more modern stuff.
Are you going down like the Martin Scorsese route?
Yeah.
This modern shit is anime. What I used to watch was anime.
My trash is bad.
let me tell you about anime.
Well, I think probably one of the biggest reasons why you don't enjoy modern anime is it seems like you enjoy sci-fi, giant robots, two genres that really are not thriving in the modern scene. And I don't know why. Is sci-fi just like, has it just gone downhill in general? Because
I think it's just been completely overridden right now by the fantasy genre. And then within the fantasy genre, mostly the isekai genre.
I feel like every decade or two, it always flip-flops between whether fantasy or like space and futuristic stuff.
Oh, yeah,
is
of course.
in, right? And right now we're in like a giant D&D boom, and fantasy just seems to be like the thing right now. And I'm sure in future it'll swap back to space in like 10 or 20 years.
Sure.
It's like a scope creep. Everyone's trying to like one up each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, our robot's bigger. Our robot's bigger. What do they call it? The power creep.
but
But
power
it's like
creep. Yeah,
But it's like in the whole genre itself.
Yeah.
Like, it's like each show has to outdo the other show.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we had like Gurren Lagann, which was literally, small spoiler alert, although it doesn't really, change the enjoyment of the show. When they literally are fucking using galaxies as shurikens, I'm like, there's nowhere to go.
They're standing on galaxies to fight.
There's nowhere to fucking go from here.
Yeah.
And especially like you look at something like Dragon Ball Super and they're like, okay, Goku's the most powerful being in the universe. Where can we go from here?
He's the most powerful being in the multiverse.
Okay, but where can we go from here? Well, I don't know now. I don't know. There's literally no way you can take that.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the big things that I've missed is a lot of just old school sci-fi shows, because I feel like a lot of I feel like those are some of my favorite types of stories, but it's so rare nowadays, not even in anime, just to find like a good sci-fi story. Which is why I've really fucking enjoyed Dune
I was about to say they've kind of had to resort to going back to older media and older franchises and kind of just like reimagining it for the modern audience. And again, I think that's why like Dune was so good, is because like that's like a story that was probably quite, abundant when it was first around, like in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. But like, now it's like, other than maybe like Star Wars, like I don't count the three new Star Wars trilogies. Other than that, like I can't really think of like a good sci-fi show that has come out recently.
I think it's a lot of work to come up with like a whole everything, and then even more work to try to tell a cohesive narrative.
Because fantasy, you can just be like, it's a fantasy world.
Right.
There's a guy selling bread and a guy selling apples, and everything's made out of
You don't have to think about the logic of the world as much.
You're like, it's how it used to be.